autumn is definitely on its way, but I've been making the most of the sunshine as it appears and going for long walks with my dog and reading outside every chance I could get. On the Sunday, we took a walk down by the river and it was so beautiful. It's just such a lovely part of the world where we live in Suffolk, and it's just always a reminder that nature always has so many beautiful gifts to give.
Quite proud of this little posy. It's so pretty. These roses are just so stunning.
The start of a new week, and I try to make things as cozy as possible and try my first ever pumpkin spice cake from Nespresso. I'm quite excited to try this and see how it turns out. And of course I had to break out my new pumpkin mug to match.
Am I allowed to do some writing? Okay? Or is it just petting? Hi guys! Well, welcome to a new vlog. It is getting quite chilly. Autumn is definitely on its way. I've just tried my first pumpkin spice cappuccino. It is really, really good. Much better than I expected. So it's called pumpkin spice cake from Nespresso. I have to admit I was influenced, and so if you see this you'll probably be influenced too. Sorry. Not sorry, because it's really good. Not sponsored. No, I wish. I've had a bit of a choppy week when it comes to writing, so I've submitted 2 new ideas under my Lily Graham pen name, and quite exciting. They've both been accepted, so I'll probably only start writing the first idea for that new contract towards the end of the year. So right now I'm in this lovely weird space in which I am contracted but not contracted. My latest children's book will be out on the 9th of October, and after that I don't have a contract at the moment. So that's a normal part of the process. I'm now in that position where you've got to come up with a new idea, which I have, but I'm not yet contracted for it. And in the past that has been quite terrifying for me. So when I came to the end of my 4-year contract with HarperCollins after having done Starfell, that was quite scary because, you know, for 4 years you've got your life mapped out, you know what you're doing, and I also had a contract with under my pen name. So, but yeah, so I'm in the position now where I don't know if I'll get a new contract for this new book. I'm hoping I will, but strangely enough, I'm very excited to write it, and I'm excited to be writing it without the pressure of having a deadline. And the only pressure I have is that I know my agent at some point wants to read it, and I've already sort of moved that date. So I was hoping to, you know, finish the book by the end of September and then send it through, and I haven't quite achieved that. So we'll see how that goes. It's another middle grade book. So middle grade covers the age 9 to 12. So it's not because middle grade as in like the bottom of the grade. That's just it's an American expression to cover those years. So that's what I've been writing. But I'm also looking to write like a cozy fantasy for adults. So I've got that idea, and my agent is quite excited about that idea as well. So my plan is to write my middle grade one, which I've got a few chapters in already, and I'm really excited. And it's quite weird, bonkers, and for me, for the first time in ages, it's not a witchy book, but it's definitely gothic and a bit odd. I don't want to give too much away, but it's quite different from what I usually do with witches and magic and that kind of thing. It does have like an element of supernatural to it because I can't help myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying writing it so far. But yeah, I've had to fit it in around other things, like coming up with the synopses for my next two Lily Graham books. And I had to write an article for Book Press on my favourite witchy books, which was a lot of fun to write. There's a few other bits and bobs that have been taking away my attention. Now I'm finally getting to just concentrate on this new book idea. So I'm going to be doing that for a little bit. Also, I've reached that age where I have glasses for far, and now these are my first pair of readers. And sad little life that I have. I am so excited about them. Not because they particularly look great. My husband actually said to me, he feels like I've unlocked a new level of nerdiness. And I don't know, maybe these are even dorkier than my regular ones. I'm not sure. I like them, but I wanted something that was immediately quite different from my regular glasses so that I would know. I mean, obviously you would know when you put them on and you can't see far. So that would be obvious. But anyway, yeah, I must say, they've made such a difference. What I've been finding is that I've become one of those people who looks at the small type in a book, and if it's too tiny, I'm put off, which is horrible. And I would try and power through, but then I'd get headaches and all kinds of things. So yeah, so these are my first pair of readers. Apparently, when you reach your 40th year, as I have, it's just a natural part of life, and the lenses in your eyes harden, and that is one of the reasons. So I don't know if I'm fairly sure that is actually the case, and my optometrist wasn't trying to just sweeten the blow, but either way, I don't care. I'm just delighted to be able to actually see. I mean, I can't really show you because it's a new project, but I was making my font so big just so that I could see it, and I'm not even that blind, but it was just, it was blurry. Anyway, so yeah, here's to being able to actually see what you're doing and hopefully spot more typos. Usually I get up at around 5 or 6 depending. Lately it's been 6 if I'm being honest, and I get some words in, so I get usually, if I get up at 5, I'll get in about 2.5 hours. If I get up at 6, then I'll get about an hour and a half of writing done. But this morning my alarm didn't go off, and it was lovely. I just slept in and it was great, and then I just decided to be a lazy bones and lie in bed and watch YouTube, and that was wonderful. Sometimes you do need it. Yeah, and so what I usually do is I start off by just reading what I've written. It's an excellent way to procrastinate, and I can sometimes do that for months, where I spend months on the first few chapters, and it is a daft system, to be fair. You should just move on, but at the same time those first few chapters are so crucial, so you get my thinking around there, and hence more reasons to procrastinate. But anyway, I'm not going to be doing that with this one. I have promised my agent this book at some point, so I really do need to get a move on, and I want to give myself these next couple of months before I absolutely have to start my Lily Graham books, which will be under contract, so you know they can come find me and demand those books. So anyway, let's get quick. I haven't really explained why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, and there was a couple of reasons. I think a lot of people who meet me would be quite surprised to find out that in a lot of ways I am quite shy. I mean, I'm not shy in daily life to go and introduce myself and that kind of thing, but I am shy in that, you know, like a lot of authors, one of the reasons I am an author is because I quite like my own company. I'm an introvert. After I spend too long with other people, I feel quite tired. I mean, I might be genuinely having a ball, but I don't have a big social battery. So after about a day in everyone's company, especially now that I work from home, it was a bit better when I worked in an office because you have that daily interaction, so you build up resistance. But now I work from home and it's just usually me and my dog and then my husband, who works from home some days. So I can go a whole week without seeing a lot of people. I mean, I do see friends and that kind of thing, but I don't spend a whole day or in other people's company. And then to suddenly go from that to doing like a school visit or back-to-back school days where you're just surrounded by people is just exhausting. And on the other side of it also, I would be shy. I would be shy to film myself, and especially with having a disability. It's a funny thing because I don't want to give the impression that I'm not comfortable in my own skin, because I am. I do feel that as I've gotten older, I've really embraced being different. And one of the things I always say is that there's magic in being who you are. And I genuinely mean this for everybody, because when you stop trying to be somebody else and you just embrace yourself, and you start to like those things about yourself, not your flaws necessarily, but the quirks, the funny little personality traits that we all have, they make you who you are, and you might watch YouTube and it's easy to fall into comparison analysis, you know what I mean, which is like that comparison is the thief of joy, and it's so true. And what I would find is that I'd go onto YouTube and there's a few sort of influencers that I really enjoy their content, and they do the sort of things I love, which is like cottagecore stuff. I'm sure you're not surprised if you've watched a few of my videos that that's what I love. I love seasonal living, home things. For a very brief moment in my 20s, I was a florist. I know, a one-handed florist. It was quite interesting, but it was fun, and I taught myself how to do it, how to do bouquets with one hand, and I loved it, and I had a blast. And it took about a year, and eventually I had quite a few clients, and I did 2 weddings. They were small weddings, I must admit, but yeah, I did weddings. I did a bride's bouquet, which was terrifying. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent, but my point is that I love interiors and I love florals and seasonal living and that kind of thing, and it's the sort of thing I would love to do, like just share a little bit of my life and be a bit more personal about what I do, and sort of get over that fear that, as a one-handed person, that people only have to see you in a certain lens, which is like being a disability advocate. And I'm not saying I'm not, but that's not all I want to speak about, I have so many more interests, and that's just a part of me, really. But my fear around that was, who's going to want to watch that? Who's going to, I'm not like these other people. I'm always going to have this disability, and I have a very visible disability, and that's always going to be, if I'm arranging a bunch of flowers, that's what you're going to see. And then I realized, you're just being silly. That's the whole point, right? To show you your normal life. And I think in a lot of ways, that is what being an advocate is, so that's one of the things. I mean, it is shyness. I think I'd be shy anyway, even without a disability. I think it's just my personality. I am kind of quiet and bookish, and so that's why I started it. It's about conquering fears and getting outside of your comfort zone. So I hope you'll come along with me. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not polished. I'm still learning. I hope you'll come along with me. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not polished. I'm still learning. I've just taught myself how to do a little bit of editing, and I love cinematography and that kind of thing, and aesthetic, like autumn vibes and seasonal living and spring, and I would love to share that kind of thing, and working on my garden alongside writing, and my daily life, walks with my dog. So if that's something you're into, I would love to have you join me, and please like and subscribe, obviously. So yeah, anyway, like you said, champion procrastinator, because now I've gone on to a tangent to tell you about this when I should be writing the book. Please don't tell my agent. So this is the finished book. It is so beautiful. I'll put a little link into my unboxing video that I did. I did a little short, and it is so gorgeous. It is illustrated by the incredible Eleanor Asperova. Yeah, so excited. And the illustrator also did key scenes from the book. So this is a key scene towards the end when they all get their broomsticks, which is so fun. And then this is possibly my favorite scene in the whole book. And this is the Dragon Book Apothecary and Coffee Emporium. And it's set in Edinburgh, and it's run by a dragon named Knox, who can prescribe books like medicine. So he can just tell what you need by touching your hand or paw or claw or talon, depending on what sort of creature you are. So yeah, I was so chuffed when I saw that she'd done this in colour. I just love it. So yeah, so each author is going to get one of these. I'm also running a special where if you've pre-ordered the book in the UK, you can, I'll pop you one of these in the post. So yeah. And then very important, just a bit of magic stars.